Welcome to my channel Genius Brain Box.
Class 7th Subject Social Chapter number 8 Chapter name Industrial Revolution Part 1 Total 30 questions. 15 seconds for each question. Each correct answer have 1 point. What system did European traders use to give advances to small farmers and artisans to produce textile goods? Option A. Barter system. Option B. Apprenticeship system. Option C. Putting out system. Correct answer is putting out system. Explanation. European traders began to use the putting out system, that is, they gave advances to small farmers and artisans to produce textile goods. What was the primary reason many peasants turned to textile work during the period of increased trade? Option A. Increased interest in textile crafts. Option B. Loss of farms and grazing lands. Option C. Government incentives for textile production. Correct answer is loss of farms and grazing lands. Explanation. During this period, income from farming was low, and many peasants lost their farms and grazing lands. Therefore, textile work helped them to make a living. In the putting out system, where was the finishing work on textile goods typically done before being sold internationally? Option A. Manchester. Option B. Birmingham. Option C. London. Correct answer is London. Explanation. But the finishing work was done in London before it was sold in other countries. What term describes the phase where more people entered craft production, traders gained control over workers, and a large market for craft products developed? Option A. Mercantilism. Option B. Proto-industrialization. Option C. Capitalism. Correct answer is proto-industrialization. Explanation. This phase is called proto-industrialization, a phase in which more and more people entered craft production, traders established control over the workers, and a large market for craft products developed across the world. What invention marked the beginning of the machine age in Britain around 1750? Option A. Spinning jenny. Option B. Power loom. Option C. Steam engine. Correct answer is steam engine. Explanation. Around 1750, machines and steam power began to be increasingly used to produce goods, to move goods and people from one place to another. What was the primary motivation for artisans to invent machines for textile production? Option A. Reduce labor costs. Option B. Improve product quality. Option C. Increase production to meet demand. Correct answer is increase production to meet demand. Explanation. As the demand for cloth and other handicrafts increased multiple times, many artisans wondered how they could increase production to keep up with the demand. Who invented the steam engine, a key invention during the Industrial Revolution? Option A. James Hargreaves. Option B. Richard Arkwright. Option C. James Watt. Correct answer is James Watt. Explanation. Then came the long-awaited invention, a machine that could spin a large amount of yarn in a short time. However, these machines were very heavy, and the artisans thought, it is so tiring to turn these machines with our hands or feet. How nice would it be if these machines could turn by themselves? This dream also came true with the famous invention of James Watt's steam engine. What was the primary source of energy for early industries during the Industrial Revolution? Option A, electricity. Option B, petroleum. Option C, coal and steam. Correct answer is coal and steam. Explanation. Initially, industries depended upon the energy from coal and steam. What was the main reason for the shift of people from villages to towns during the Industrial Revolution? Option A, better housing conditions in towns. Option B, availability of jobs in industries and urban activities. Option C, government policies encouraging urbanization. Correct answer is availability of jobs in industries and urban activities. Explanation. Industries and other urban activities gave livelihoods to many people. What were the living conditions like in the early industrial towns and cities? Option A, spacious and well-planned. Option B, cramped with poor sanitation. Option C, similar to village life. Correct answer is cramped with poor sanitation. Explanation. As people moved to newly emerging towns, they settled down in makeshift houses and shelters that were cramped and had little sanitation or other facilities. What was the primary reason for the emergence of slums in towns and cities during the Industrial Revolution? Option A, lack of affordable housing. Option B, government neglect of urban areas. Option C, rapid influx of people from villages. Correct answer is rapid influx of people from villages. Explanation. As people moved to newly emerging towns, they settled down in makeshift houses and shelters that were cramped and had little sanitation or other facilities. What were the typical working hours in early factories during the Industrial Revolution? Option A, 8 hours a day. Option B, 10 hours a day. Option C, more than 12 hours a day. Correct answer is more than 12 hours a day. Explanation. We have to work in this way for more than 12 hours a day. What was the main reason for the employment of women and children in early factories? Option A, their willingness to work for lower wages. Option B, lack of available male workers. Option C, government regulations promoting child labor. Correct answer is their willingness to work for lower wages. Explanation. In their place, many women and children were employed and made to work for meager wages. What was the primary concern of workers regarding the introduction of new machines in factories? Option A, increased workload. Option B, safety hazards. Option C, job losses. Correct answer is job losses. Explanation. Since they can do the work of several workers simultaneously, fewer workers are required. Every time a new machine is introduced, many of us are thrown into the street. What were the initial demands of workers' organizations during the Industrial Revolution? Option A, paid holidays and sick leave. Option B, retirement benefits and pensions. Option C, shorter workdays, higher wages, and restrictions on child labor. Correct answer is shorter workdays, higher wages, and restrictions on child labor. Explanation. In the beginning, they demanded an 8 or 10-hour workday, higher wages, and disallowing children under 14 years of age from being employed in mines or factories, etc. How did the invention of the steam engine impact the shipping industry? Option A. Increased transportation costs. Option B. Boosted the shipping industry and reduced costs. Option C. Had no significant impact. Correct answer is boosted the shipping industry and reduced costs. Explanation. The invention of the steam engine boosted the shipping industry. It also reduced the cost of transportation to 1/3 of the cost of road transport. Who invented the locomotive that pulled heavy loads along a 64-kilometer track from Liverpool to Manchester? Option A. James Watt. Option B. George Stephenson. Option C. John Loudon Macadam. Correct answer is George Stephenson. Explanation. George Stephenson's locomotive pulled heavy loads along a 64-kilometer track from Liverpool to Manchester at 46 kilometers per hour. What method did John Loudon Macadam devise for laying roads in the 1840s? Option A. Using concrete slabs. Option B. Using asphalt. Option C. Using broken stones. Correct answer is using broken stones. Explanation. In the 1840s, John Loudon Macadam devised a method of laying the road using broken stones. Who developed the first aircraft in the early 20th century? Option A. The Montgolfier brothers. Option B. The Wright brothers. Option C. Samuel Langley. Correct answer is the Wright brothers. Explanation. In the early 20th century, an aircraft was developed by the Wright brothers, and today, air transport is the fastest means of transport. Why did European factory owners seek to sell their products in other countries? Option A. To promote international trade. Option B. To help developing countries. Option C. To meet the excess demand that couldn't be met domestically. Correct answer is to meet the excess demand that couldn't be met domestically. Explanation. Industrial production increased so much that it was not possible to sell all the products in their countries. What was the main reason for the increased demand for machine-made goods worldwide? Option A. The unique designs. Option B. Their affordability and durability. Option C. Government subsidies. Correct answer is their affordability and durability. Explanation. Machine-made goods were cheap and durable. Hence, the demand for them increased all over the world. Where did European countries obtain the raw materials needed for their industrial production? Option A. From their own colonies. Option B. From neighboring European countries. Option C. From Asia and America. Correct answer is from Asia and America. Explanation. For example, the cotton needed for producing cloth was grown in India and America. English traders purchased these raw materials from India and other countries and sold them to factory owners. What was the primary reason for European countries establishing colonies in Asia, Africa, Australia, and America? Option A. To spread their culture and religion. Option B. To explore new lands and resources. Option C. To exploit the resources of these colonies for their own industrial benefit. Correct answer is to exploit the resources of these colonies for their own industrial benefit. How did the Industrial Revolution impact the relationship between European countries and their colonies? Option A. It led to greater cooperation and mutual benefit. Option B. It resulted in the exploitation of colonies for the benefit of European industries. Option C. It had no significant impact on the relationship. Correct answer is, it resulted in the exploitation of colonies for the benefit of European industries. Explanation. These European countries exploited the colonies in other continents and grew wealthy in the process. What were the main characteristics of workers' residential areas in early industrial towns? Option A. Well-ventilated and spacious. Option B. Cramped and lacking sanitation. Option C. Located far from factories and mines. Correct answer is cramped and lacking sanitation. Explanation. Most workers' residential areas lacked proper ventilation, health, and sanitation facilities. How did the living conditions in workers' quarters eventually improve? Option A. Through government intervention and social reforms. Through government intervention and social reforms. Option B. Through the benevolence of factory owners. Option C. Through the natural course of urban development. Correct answer is through government intervention and social reforms. Explanation. Slowly, people fought for their civic rights, and the conditions of the workers' quarters also improved. What is the term for countries whose resources are used for the benefit of another country? Option A. Protectorates. Option B. Dominions. Option C. Colonies. Correct answer is colonies. Explanation. Colonies are those countries whose resources are used for the benefit of another country. What were manufactories? Option A. Small workshops where craftspersons worked with raw materials provided by traders. Option B. Large factories with mechanized production. Option C. Trading posts where finished goods were sold. Correct answer is small workshops where craftspersons worked with raw materials provided by traders. Explanation. They set up small workshops called manufactories. What is a factory system of production? Option A. A system where production takes place in homes. Option B. A system where production takes place in large factories using machines and steam power. Option C. A system where production is controlled by guilds. Correct answer is a system where production takes place in large factories using machines and steam power. Explanation. Between 1750 to 1850, a new system called the factory system emerged. Instead of simple tools and manual power, new machines and steam power came to be used increasingly. Production was now carried out in a place called factory, unlike what we read earlier, where production took place in houses. Who were the capitalists in the factory system? Option A. Skilled artisans who owned their tools and workshops. Option B. Merchants who controlled the trade of goods. Option C. Individuals who invested money in factories, workers, and raw materials. Correct answer is individuals who invested money in factories, workers, and raw materials. Explanation. All the facilities needed for production were owned and managed by individuals called capitalists.
Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Goodbye.